Hello, everyone. This is Gertrude Onuoha. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? All right. Welcome to my YouTube channel, NIW Live. Thank you for joining in today. Thank you very, very much. You're all welcome. It's a channel where we provide immigration information for your transformation. And today we do have a lot to talk about. And I'm very excited to hear your questions. My name is Gertrude Onuoha. I am an immigration attorney from the state of New York. We service clients all over the 50 states in the United States and even outside the United States. So, welcome. Thank you for joining in. I would like to know who is in. So, tell me your name and where you're joining from so I can send in a special greetings to you. Let me know what part of the US you're joining from or even outside the United States. All right, I see you, Anita. Thank you for joining. You're always here. Thank you. Who else? Let's see other people. Let's get to meet you. Thank you for joining in. Yeah, you can put in your name you're joining from or just where you're joining from so I know who is in the house. If you're just joining in, welcome, welcome to the NIW. Gabriel from Texas, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for joining in. This is a NIW approved channel, a channel that provides immigration information for your transformation. So please let me know where you're joining in from. Thank you all. Welcome, welcome. We have so much to take in today, and I'm very excited for any of your questions you're going to be asking. So, yeah, let me know where you're joining from. Let me know where you're joining from. I want to greet you specially. Mercy from PA. Nice to meet you. That's Pennsylvania. Nice to meet you. I look forward to all your questions today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for Frederick from Texas. God bless you. Thank you for joining in, Frederick. Nice to have you. Who else is in the house? Thank you, thank you. Justin from New Hampshire. God bless you. Thank you for joining in. It's so joyous to see all of you. Yeah, Samuel for Buffalo. Wonderful. Buffalo, New York. Thank you for joining in. Ruth from Florida. Wow. Thank you so much, Ruth, for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Anita from New Haven, Connecticut. Thank you for joining in. So yeah, while we're welcoming everybody, okay, I do see someone from GA. God bless you. That is Georgia. Yeah, please let your friends know that today I'm going to be taking your immigration questions. I'll try my best to cover all the questions that will be asked today. And just to let you guys know, this is just mostly for immigration education and information. And I'm really, really excited to answer your questions. As we all know, we now have a new government, and the new government was sworn in on the 20th of January. And there's a lot to talk about in the world of immigration today. So we're gonna like go over a few things. I have a slide that I will first of all go over, and then we can then have all your beautiful and intelligent questions. So like it's been stated on the slide, it's just we're just focusing on some of the new executive orders made by our new government. Please note that this is not by any means exhaustive. This is just some of the new rules that have been rolled out, and we're just focusing on a few of them, not all of them today. So but I'm happy to take on your question. Yeah, let's go to the next slide. Okay, I already gave a disclaimer. This is just for educational purposes. This is not This is not legal advice. So definitely we are open to giving you legal advice if you schedule a consultation and we know all the facts of your case, and then we can give you competent legal advice. So I'm just going to go over a few of some of the rules and executive orders. And I want to focus firstly on the ones I think impact the EB2 NIW. You guys know that an attorney that focuses a lot on EB2 NIW. So I just want to say that some of the executive orders do really impact on the EB2 NIW case. Just in case you're just joining in for the first time, you don't know anything about EB2 NIW. So the EB2, that's Employment Based Preference Category 2, it's a green card pathway for scholars, international students, researchers, professionals, young and old, who are interested in immigrating to the United States to work in their area of expertise or specialty. So essentially, you just need to show that you have an advanced degree, which could be a bachelor's degree with 5 years of work, or a master's degree, or a PhD. um Also, if you don't have that, you could also show that you are a person of exceptional ability. And then once you have established that eligibility side of things, you need to now proceed to show that your work will benefit the United States. This is especially if you are a self petitioner. So, in order to establish that your work is of national interest to the United States, you would have to show three things. Number one, that your work is of substantial merit and of national importance. Number two, that you are well positioned to actually carry out that work here in the United States. And thirdly, it'll be in the interest of the United States government to waive the labor certification. So those are just, I mean, in very simple terms, what the EB2 is all about. Now, how does this new executive orders impact the EB2? So, as you can see here, there is the government has revoked bans on offshore drilling. So the goal with this executive order is to actually really go ahead to drill. So the interest of this new government is to encourage fossil fuel production, right? So what does this mean? You understand, for our clients and persons that are interested in the EB2 or EB1 NIW pathway. So, what this means is that if you are in the energy field, say for example, you are a geologist, a petroleum expert, mechanical engineer, even electrical engineer, or even any specialty that sort of enables, right, the supply, the drilling, the extraction of oil and gas, right, in the United States, then you should be very happy about this, because um, it means that your work that you'll be doing here in the United States is in the national interest of the government. Because the interest of the current government is that they want more drilling to be done, domestic production of fossil fuel. Okay, so there's what are the opportunities that are open? Increased demand for experts in petroleum engineering, geology, and even environmental engineering. And so that's a good news, right? I know a lot of people have been panicking, but I think that that's good news. So if you're in the oil and gas field, or even if you are not directly in the oil and gas field, but your expertise or your specialty is going to enable the drilling of more fossil fuel here in the United States, hey, that's good news for you. So take note of that, and this will be a good time to really, probably do a consultation to see if you meet all the requirements and put in a case. All right, let's move to the next slide. So this other one, the National Energy Emergency Declaration, is also in line with the other one I talked about. So pretty much it prioritizes energy independence and and national security for the United States. So the United States want to be energy independent. In other words, they are not going to be depending on any other nation. So they want to really fast track these energy projects and reduce foreign dependence or reliance. Okay, so what does this mean? Like I said earlier on, so if you are an expert, and again, when I say expert, let's not forget that sometimes you might not even be in the core engineering work where you may not be a geologist, you may not be a petroleum engineer or even a mechanical or electrical engineer, but your work does impact the uh, energy sector. Okay, so your work does accelerate, it does help the energy sector. Definitely, you should consider looking at the EB2. Again, like I said, this is positive. So I'm giving you the good side of things. And yeah, let's move to the next slide. So while we're like so excited for the fossil fuel guys, then this one now, this particular executive order that says America first in environmental agreement is not such a positive news for environmental experts. So what does it say? Basically, it scales back US obligation to international climate policies. It also, instructs that the Paris Agreement, which the United States should withdraw from the Paris Agreement. Essentially, termination of international climate funding will take place. So, what does this mean if you are an environmental scientist, if you are somebody that's working on maybe carbon sequestration, you're working on climate change, clean energy, electric cars, all this good stuff with renewable energy? It doesn't look very positive. However, I would still say that if you are in that spectrum, you may just need to realign your talking point when it comes to the NIW. You may need to probably do a consultation so that you know how to, put forth your case, because right now the priority of the government is not in those like climate change, unlike the prior government, right? This current government is not emphasizing climate change. So what does that mean for you if you're an environmental scientist, right? It means that you would now have to be very strategic in presenting your case. Even for some other experts that, their work does impact on clean energy and climate change, reduction of green gas, and all that good stuff. You really have to sit down now and recalibrate and be strategic. It doesn't mean you cannot submit your EB2 NIW case. It does not mean that the EB2 is not for you. It just means that you need to now sit down and be very strategic. You need to know how to now present your case in a way that is still in alignment with national priorities. Okay, so that's not such a good news for environmental scientists or those in that field. All right, let's move to the next slide. All right, so there's also the rescission of environmental justice programs. And I'm saying this because I know that, we do a lot of these EB2 cases. So I know the talking points for a lot of clients, especially in the environmental science spectrum. Even other professionals, even other professionals like electrical engineers, mechanical engineer, many professionals, their work, sort of um, have some kind of environmental impact. Now, look at this. It says rescission of environmental justice program. I've seen people with this talking points where their talking point is that we're trying to, help those that have been affected by, maybe oil spills, or they've been negatively impacted by environmental issues here in the United States. But guess what now? It does say that the federal government is eliminating programs that support environmental equity. So where does that leave you? If that is your, your focal point, maybe that's your area of expertise when you are doing your masters or your, what is it called, your PhD program. So again, I would not say back out of the EB2, not pursue it. I wouldn't say that. All I would say is be strategic. Look into other aspects of environmental law that the government is still interested in. Um, do a consultation to find out how to present your case in a way that makes sense, so that you're still making your argument in alignment with the national interest of the United States. Keep in mind that the national interest argument, you have to make all three arguments, and that has to be convincing for your case to be approved. So, yeah, let's move to the next slide. All right. So with this next slide now, we're moving to the general spectrum where, yeah, this order says that this executive order protects the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats. So what does this mean? It just means that the agency of government, they would have to, vet. There'll be more scrutiny. Essentially, that's what it means. There'll be more scrutiny of applications. They're gonna like really vet everything more, go in depth. It might mean maybe new applications. Again, I cannot tell you how these things are gonna play out. It might just be waiting, on the queue for a longer time. Might be more interviews because at least last 2 years we've seen that most of our cases, our clients don't go for interview, like for 98% of the cases, especially in the EB2 category. So even like this morning, I just got a notification from my client that her case got approved, her green card, and she did not go for any interview. So maybe with this new order, it might mean that we might see more interviews just to make sure that everything is okay before you get the green card. It might mean more wait time, longer wait times. It might mean more stringent scrutiny, stringent adjudications. Yeah, it does give them the power to do a lot. So we should be prepared for things like that. So, how does this impact you? At the end of the day, it comes down to you not making mistakes in your application. You want to really make sure that everything is properly done. Your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. You want to work with probably a professional if you can afford it, to make sure that you put in a strong case. What does this mean also? So if you have an application and you're putting yourself out there, and you want to make sure that you meet all the eligibility criteria for that application. Okay, it doesn't mean if whether it's EB2, VAWER, U visa, T visa, marriage, green card, whatever benefit you're seeking, it just that burden is on you to make sure that you meet the requirements of law, so that you don't get your case denied, and then probably, we don't know, then you may be placed in proceedings. So you want to be very careful. You want to really make sure that you're doing everything properly. All right, let's move on. So can I see this clearly? All right. Thank you very much. So, yeah, deployment of troops to the southern border. So, what this means is it's very self-explanatory. So, there'll be troops will be deployed to the border. Of course, the aim is to deter unauthorized crossing and, of course, increase border security. So, if you have any family member that's looking to come in through the border or illegally, um, probably this is not a good time to do that because there's going to be really top-notch scrutiny at the border. So yeah, that scrutiny is going to be there, and they're going to be very tough with the entry. Illegal entry would really, really scale down under this administration. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Okay, and then there's the reinstatement of Remain in Mexico program, where people who are seeking for asylum at the port of entry, especially at the southern border, they will be asked to wait in Mexico while their application is being adjudicated here in the United States. That's not such a good news because, I mean, guess what? If they are here, they can ask for work authorization while the case is pending, and you can begin to work and enjoy the United States while your case is pending. And guess what? Some of these cases, asylum cases, they last for, I mean, as long as like 5, some 8 years, 10 years. So these individuals are actually working. Some of them have good jobs, some have gone to school, and they are already enjoying the United States. Now, if you have to wait in Mexico, you are not getting anything until a decision is made favorably, in your case. So it's like night and day, and it does have a very huge impact. All right, let's move on to the next slide. So there's going to be intensified immigration enforcement. We've talked about, so with the enforcement, if you are undocumented, um yeah, you are at risk at this time. And just in terms of, if you have any criminal record, then it makes you even more at risk. So if you're undocumented, again, what I recommend is, number one, find out if you qualify for any benefits, because sometimes you don't know. Some, I've seen people who have been in this country. I had a client who was here for about 20 years, and he was just sitting there and hiding all the whole time. And somebody recommended me, and we spoke, and guess what? He was qualified for a U visa, and we put in that case, and today he is documented in the United States. He had been here for about 20 years without status. So you sometimes you don't know if you are qualified for something. So talk to an attorney. Of course, you can talk to my law firm. We do charge for our consultations. We can sit down with you and walk through different pathways and see if you qualify. So much so that when you submit something and you put in an application in the system, you are better off than milling around as an undocumented immigrant. Because once you have an application pending, at least you're way better than somebody who doesn't have anything pending. Another strong impact is, you want to make sure, say if you're undocumented, you want to make sure that you have some type of ID with you. Make sure you carry an ID, not a fake document, an ID. Also, you want to have next, like family members, having your information, knowing your whereabouts, just in case you get picked up or things like that. If you have an application that's pending, like maybe a green card application that's pending, I strongly recommend that you know, you have your receipt notice with you. If you do have an attorney in a case that's working with you, I strongly recommend that you have their card with you, their information and everything. God forbid if you get picked up, you might be able to tell them that, hey, I do have an attorney, and you might be able to get your attorney quickly. So I would say stay away from government buildings, maybe like courthouses, police houses, or even, some government buildings or airports, those areas where you are at higher risk of being picked. So, yeah. But the most important thing is to try as much as possible to um, look through your case and see if you qualify for anything, and then take steps towards making an application. Make sure that you qualify, make sure that you meet the eligibility requirements for whatever benefit you're seeking. Also, definitely make sure that you are a member of a community where you can get information. This is not a time when you should be ignorant. Ignorance of the law is never an excuse, but this is not a time when you should be ignorant. So be a member of a community where they give immigration information. I typically have this live session, on Saturdays, 12 noon Eastern time. If you have not subscribed, subscribe. Also like it. And if you like the information you're getting so far, give me a thumbs up, make a nice comment, and give me some kind of encouragement so that I can give you more tips and information. All right. There's this also, you can move the slide now. You can move the slide. So yeah, I think there's the suspension of refugee admissions. So of course the government does have refugee programs that have been suspended right now, and that's not good. If you are on that side of the aisle, it's so disappointing. Sometimes people have been in the program for years waiting for their time, and now it's been suspended. Hopefully things work out for those that are involved in that process. All right, let's move on. I'm going to start taking your questions. So, the issue of birthright is also there, and that one is even being litigated right now. So, normally you'd come to the United States, you have your baby, and you jet out. That is no longer the case. Even for those that are, it does say. Let me just read the what it says. It said, if your both parents are unlawfully present in the United States, okay, then you wouldn't be able to get that citizenship. So to acquire US citizenship automatically, children born on or after February 19, 2025 in the US must have at least one parent who is a legal permanent resident, okay, legal permanent resident or a US citizen. So that is now the requirement for um, US citizenship for a child that's born in the United States. So keep that provision in mind. Of course, I think there's litigation going on and that it has been suspended. However, it's there's going to really be a lot of battle on this one because it does really go against the Constitution. All right, let's move on. You can move on. We talked about that already. All right, so that's just the end for today on all those issues. Like I said, this is not by any means exhaustive. There are other provisions that I've not talked about here, and you can always we can always continue the conversation at another time. But today, at this point, I would like to take questions from my audience. So if you have any question on anything I've said or anything pertaining to immigration, I'll try my best to answer your question. And yeah, sure, you can ask. You can ask a question. Tomiwa Rejoice. Oh, Rejoice, nice to hear from you. God bless you. So yeah, you can go ahead and put in your question, and I'm going to try my best to review your question. Okay, while we're waiting for the question, I would definitely like to invite everyone present today for a career seminar that's coming up tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you are an international student or a young professional and you're interested in, you know, developing your career, especially in the academia. We have a wonderful seminar that's coming up where a resource person will be brought in to truly explain the process to you and how to really optimize your career in the academia. So if you have any if you are interested in attending that session, please just put your information on the chat, and then we'll send you the flyer. Okay, I have my first question here. What is the possibility of changing to EB2 from any other pathway? Hmm. All right, that's a very good question. And so with the EB2, keep in mind the EB2 NIW green card pathway leads to green card, right? So you have to first of all do um, the employment based part of things, which is you showing that you have an advanced degree and your work is in the national interest. So once you do that, then of course, if your case is approved, is a whole lot. Okay, so I'm just summarizing. So once your case is approved, then you would go to the next stage, which is the green card stage. It's a bifurcated process. So you finish the I-140 stage and the national interest waiver section, and then once your case is current, or if you are doing concurrent filing under EB1, then you would apply for the green card. So most times you can do the first part. I mean, the question that we need to answer here is, where are you applying from? Are you inside the United States? So if you are inside the United States, you need to have been maintaining status. You understand? So if you are inside the United States and say you've been here for 5, 10 years, and you're not in status, even if you get approved for the I-140, right? Then the green card process becomes very challenging because you are in unlawful status. You have violated your status, right? So, and they're only going to forgive you for 180 days, only 6 months of violation that will be forgiven for unlawful presence. So, if you have unlawful presence of more than 180 days, it becomes very challenging, even though you have an approved I-140, but the end product is the green card. So you're just going to be holding an approved I-140 in your hand, but you won't be able to get the green card if you have not maintained lawful status. So keep that in mind. There is the possibility of exploring EB2, but keep in mind that if you have been around here in the United States, you need to have been maintaining status. That's very, very important. Very, very important. I had this client that, he came to us solely for the I-140. Of course, we got his case approved and all that. And then he was already out of status. And so he does have an approved I-140 in his hands, but he's not able to, get the green card because he's unlawfully present in the United States. You know, so right now we have advised him to seek to reinstate back as an international student. If that is approved, then you cannot proceed to pursue the what's it called, the green card. Another option is you can actually apply again. You can do the what's it called, the I-140, but keep in mind that even if you are going outside the United States to do consular processing, you need to have maintained status here in the United States. So it really depends on what has been going on in the back end. And again, if you schedule a consultation, we can really look at specifics and advice. All right, so Miwa, you have a wonderful question here. It says, my friend's visa got expired last year, May 2024. She was still in school and then she got a continued I-20. What is the implication if she wants to renew her visa now? All right, let's get something straight. So when you enter into the United States as an international student, you may be given like 2 years or 3 years. They may give you a duration, but at the port of entry, there's something called duration of status. All right, it's called DS. If you look at your passport carefully, you will see DS stamped on your passport. So duration of status means that as long as you're in school lawfully, you're not violating any laws, you are in status. Regardless, notwithstanding that maybe the 2 years or the duration given to you in your home country has expired. So let's be practical here. Say you got 2 years to come do some studies here in the United States, and now you're in school and the program is 3 years here. You're as long as you're in school, you're doing everything right, you're fine. Now you're lawfully in the United States. The question now is, if you leave the United States, in order to be admitted back, you need a visa. You need a visa. So your friend would have to go to a neighboring country or to her home country to get a visa to enable her get back into the United States. For you to be admitted back, you need a visa. So she would need a visa. But as long as she's staying here studying, there's no, there's no unlawful presence because it says duration of status. Okay? All right, Christina. Okay, you said, what is the prospect for the education and accounting career when applying for EB2 as a new PhD student in the United States? Somebody asked that question last week. So, education and accounting career. I don't know if you are doing both, but I'm just going to break them into two. So, with regards to accounting, and with accounting, I would say you are in the business spectrum. um when it comes to the EB2 NIW, so in my office we've done different specialties and all that. Based on my own experience, at the end of the day, it comes down to your credentials. It comes down to your credentials. So that even if you are in engineering, you are in the biomedical field, if your credentials are not, robust and they don't meet the legal requirement, then you're not going to scale through the EB2 NIW case. But you might even be in business and in accounting, but if you meet all the credentials, all the requirements of law, and you have the credentials, you have the evidence. So when I say evidence, I mean like you have the degree, you know achieved some things in your field, you have certifications, you have research, you've really shown that you are exceptional in your field, or if it's the EB1, that you are at the top of your field and you are extraordinary. So if you have like government funded projects you've done presentations at conferences, you've held critical positions and leadership positions, and these things can be verifiable. There are experts that can really speak to your achievement. Then I really don't think it comes down to your profession. To me, it comes down, and I'm speaking authoritatively from experience, it comes down to your evidence and your credentials, what you are carrying behind you. So, with regards to education, I think I've seen it in the regulations where it specifically says that the EB2 is not for classroom teachers. So that if you're a classroom teacher, then it's really not for you because it's spelled out clearly in the regulations. Except if, again I would have to do a consultation with you to know what kind of teaching is going on there, because I mean we do a lot of this EB2 for international students who are TAs or RAs, researchers. So yeah, the classroom teacher here would be maybe like high school teacher. But again, at the end of the day, we need to do a consultation to really clarify what level of education you are involved in and what you're doing. Because if, for example, you are even a classroom teacher, but you're an expert in, say, curriculum drafting, or maybe you're an expert in something like bullying in the educational section or sector, it comes down to the consultation. We really need to know what your expertise is in, like your specialty. You understand? It's a whole process when it comes to the consultation for this thing. So I'm definitely going to need more information on the issue of education so that I can give you valid advice. All right. So yeah. Any other question? Okay. Okay. Can I file for EB2 NIW while I'm waiting for my visiting visa interview? I'm not in the US at the moment. Also, is it even possible to file EB2 NIW from outside the United States? All right, Spaz, I will give you the answer straight on. The answer is a big yes. You can file from outside the United States. You can file from any part of the world. Your location is not the issue. Your location, your eligibility and credentials is what we're looking at. Okay. Do you meet the requirements? Are you an expert with advanced degree? Are you exceptional? Do you meet all the requirements of the national interest waiver argument? Do you have evidence to back up your claims? Because in this world of NIW is show and tell. You gotta show. You don't just tell. You have to show what you say you are. Okay? If you say I'm an expert in XYZ, then you have to prove it. Because guess what? The immigration officer does not know you. They don't know you, right? They don't know you. So you have to prove yourself. You have to prove your case. The burden of proving your case is on you. We've serviced clients outside the United States. So, and we've been very successful. Very, very successful. So I can authoritatively tell you that you can make that application from outside the United States. All right, what is the prospect and chance of getting EB2 NIW with masters in computer science without publication? All right, so again, for me to make that judgment call, I'm an ex like I am a professional, right? I would need to see everything, because for our consultation, and it's important that you know why we do this consultation. Personally, I would not take an EB2 NIW without doing a consultation, because this consultation, number one, it enables us understand who you are. It enables us understand the proposed endeavor. That is key. Then it enables us understand whether you have the credentials to back up your claim. Okay, because it's so document intensive. It's a lot of documents you're putting out there. We need to be sure that what you're saying is true. That's one. Two, we also do what is called an assessment. We look at the strength of your case. So just because you don't have publication does not necessarily mean that, oh, you are not a good candidate for the EB2. We have to look at your strength. What else do you have under your belt, right? What have you achieved? You say you're exceptional. What have you done? You may have other things that, present you as a stellar candidate. Okay? So even now, you're talking about publications. We've seen instances where people don't even have publications, right? But they have done other things. They've written articles. They've done projects, capstones, right? That are of huge national importance. But those things were not published. And then they have done some maybe funded projects with the government, right? And they have some unique certifications, or they've done presentations, or they're holding leadership roles, or they've been involved in some very, very critical projects over the course of their career. So it's not just one thing. It's not one thing. It's more of a holistic review during the consultation. So we're looking at your strength, we're looking at your weakness, right? And then we're saying, okay, when everything is put together, do you think you can scale through? And we have our threshold. Once you meet that threshold, we will take on the case. So it's not just maybe I'm in mechanical engineering, am I a good fit? It's not just the industry or the profession you find yourself. It is more so the credentials that you have, the evidence that you have to back up your claim that you are indeed exceptional or an alien with an advanced degree. And even after you scale that, you still have to show that your work is of national importance. And in doing that, there are three prong requirements you have to show. So, yeah, I would say do a consultation. Certainly do a consultation. Another benefit of a consultation is that even if you don't meet the requirement, we can tell you what you need to work on. We can give you advice on, okay, you need to work on this, you need to work on that, and then over a period of time, you work on things, and then you meet the eligibility requirement. All right, this question says, can I file for EB2 while waiting for my visiting visa interview? So, and is this you need to specify, are you coming to the United States? That's not spelled out. I have no way of knowing. So, Spars, you need to give me more information. I have no way of knowing what's going on with you. All right, let's take another. Thank you, ma. But what if? Okay, who is this Rejoice? What if she wants to stay in in the country after school, get an OPT, etc.? Will her expired visa implicate her in the long run in the United States? Can she renew without leaving the United States? Most of our clients that have renewed have had to go out of the United States. I've heard about some people who have tried to do it while here, but I don't have, none of my clients have ever had that experience, like actually staying here and doing a drop box or something like that. They've all had to really physically leave the United States and then come back. Or some of them just decide to, stay back here. Look, I think the thing about the visa is to enable you come back to the United States. So if you're here, you're doing your OPT, you're happy, you have a job, and maybe you're going to find a green card pathway later, or you're going back to school, why are you worried about where you're renewing, right? At the end of the day, the whole thing about the visa is to enable you come back, or if you want to travel for a conference. Common reasons why international students travel would be maybe they are going for a conference, some are going to get married, they're going to visit family members, they are going on vacation. So yeah, those would be common reasons why they would want to go out. And then of course, international students, we know that they get homesick, and it's just normal that sometimes they want to go see family, right? So if your visa is expired, definitely you to be admitted back, you need a what's it called? You need the visa to be admitted back. So, but if traveling is not your concern, right? If you're not worried about leaving and you're here, then why are you so concerned about renewal? You understand? But just to answer the question, most of my experience has been with people who have left and successfully been able to come back. I've heard of situations where people got stuck outside the US. At the end of the day, you just have to weigh your options, know your priorities, and do what you need to do. And of course, if you need to, talk to us in details in a consultation where we can really balance what your priorities are, we're open to helping international. So we work with lots and lots of international students, and we've been able to help them really get settlement here in the United States. Like I was telling you guys, one of my clients just texted me this morning that her green card got approved. I didn't even see it yet, and she saw it. So yeah, we've been able to help lots of international students make that leap from F1 status to green card status. That's what you want to do. That should be the goal at any given time. If you want to remain here in the United States. All right. We're going to take a few more questions and then we'll call it a day. I am here every Saturday live, and if you like what you're hearing, please give me a thumbs up or like or share. All right. Any more question? I love your doggedness, Mr. Spaz. This is the third time you're asking me this question. All right. So it says, can I file for let me see the question again. All right, thank you. Can I file for EB2 while waiting for my visiting visa interview to visit the United States? So you are looking to visit the United States. When you say waiting, does that mean that you are trying to get a date? Okay, I don't know what that means for you. But again, you're not talking about, so one is non-immigrant, you want to come here to visit. At the same time, you're also thinking of an immigrant visa. Again, it at some point there might be some conflict at some point, but again, it depends on which one comes first, right? It depends on which one comes first. So if you like visit the United States without any green card application and you're done with your visit, then you return back to your country and you want to now apply for the what's it called, the I-140, the EB2 NIW, that wouldn't be a problem. That wouldn't be a problem, you know. But what you don't want is to make an application for the green card and then you go for a visit. Sometimes they might tell you that, okay, your green card application is pending, then just wait, since you're coming anyways. You know what I mean? I think somebody told me about that very recently, where I think an individual had an application pending for either their green card interview and then going for a visitor's visa. They might just say, you know what, you're coming anyway, so why don't you just wait and get the green card. I know sometimes we want to eat our cake and have it, but in this world of immigration, sometimes you can't eat your cake and have it. You need to determine your priority. Which one is important to you? Do you want to visit and do one or two things? Or do you want to come in here and stay? So determine your priorities and then pursue it. It's not every time that you can have both worlds. I'm sorry to say, maybe that's not what you want to hear. Anyways, oh, thank you, Caleb. That's so sweet. Thank you for recommending me. We've really actually helped a lot of clients, and our goal is to make sure that we really get that green card in your hand. We get that green card in your hand. That's the goal at every given time. We work hard to make sure that all our clients get the green card if they have hired us for that process. All right. I think we've had so many questions today. Is there anyone? Okay, I have Chidera. Okay, can I travel with? Sorry, I can't see this very well. With her partner on F1, and what are my chances of getting my green card on a long run? I'm sorry, I don't understand this question. If you can rephrase the question. You say, can one, okay, another question. Can I apply for the EB2 as a PhD student in the United States? Oh, yes, you can. You can. Um, I mean, you can definitely apply. At the end of the day, it comes down to if you are qualified. Making an application to USCIS or to the government is really not so much as a big deal. The question you always want to ask is my application going to be approved? Anybody can make an application, but the first thing you want to do is to, especially for the EB2, quite frankly, even if you decide that, okay, I'm going to self-petition, I'm going to do my application myself, I'm not going to use an attorney, I highly recommend that you do a consultation with an attorney who knows what they are doing in this NIW playground. You know, they need to know what they are doing to try to figure out if you even meet the requirements. You don't want to pay all this money to the government, and some of you are even paying for premium processing, which is 2,805. You're paying the 300, you're paying the 700. You're looking at over $3,000, and you're making this application, and then you're not even sure. You want to like just at least see if I even meet the threshold before you start, putting in all that, shelling in all that money out there. And the whole process of EB2 NIW, it's a lot. It's a lot. I do this on a daily basis. We work day in, day out. It's a lot. It's really a lot. It's highly documentary. You don't want to be that person who is going to like just, take some documents and throw it at the government. No, you don't want to do that. You want to sit down and be strategic. What do I have? Do I meet the requirements of the law? See, EB2 NIW is hard law. You got to meet the requirements. Even for us, we would not take on a case if you don't meet the requirements. It's a waste. It's a waste on our side, it's a waste on your side. You understand? So if you meet the requirement, we will take the case. But if you don't, we won't. And even for you that's hoping to do it yourself, you want to check and see if I meet the requirement for this process. Otherwise, it's a very daunting process putting all these documents together. Your entire career, you're looking at your scrutinizing your career, you're scrutinizing your education, and some of you have been in the educational system for years. You've done your bachelor's degree, some of you have two master's degree, some of you have a PhD, and some of you even have two PhD. So you've been in the educational system for years, and now you want to start this process. I would think you would sit down and try to be strategic. You map out the plan. What's the plan? Some of you have like five talking points. You've done so many things over the course of your career, and if you don't know how this works, you just throw the kitchen sink at the immigration officer, and they are looking at your case, and they are looking at so many things. It's like different roads leading to different directions, and they are confused. And guess what? Once they are confused, you will get an RFE. And if you still cannot help to cure the confusion, you would get a denial. And that's not a place to be. You don't want to ever be there. So if you're not sure what you're doing, if you're not sure if you qualify, hey, pick up your phone, schedule a consultation, and we will, sit down with you, do the analysis, and tell you what your strengths are, tell you what, based on your case, what the talking point should be. I'm sure I'm gonna one of these days do a video on your proposed endeavor. We really need to talk about that because that's one area where a lot of people don't even understand what they're doing, especially those that are doing it themselves. They think that the proposed endeavor is probably maybe their industry, or maybe what they're doing on their job, or even maybe what another person is doing. I've had a case where I had a client contact me for an RFE, and he's like, I think, a geologist or something like that, and he was talking about carbon sequestration, capturing the carbon during the exploration process. Now we sat down, we looked at his case, and the case had nothing to do with carbon sequestration. And we're like, how did you? I said, I said, can I read your brief you wrote? And after reading and everything, like, how did you arrive at carbon sequestration? Guess what he told me? Somebody else was doing it, and that's why I did it. So you don't do that. You work based on your own credentials. And with this individual, we sat down with him, and boy, he had so much under his belt. And we were able to pull out all these things, put together a beautiful case for him, and his case was approved. So you really want to look at your credentials. Very, very important. All right, guys. I think at this point, okay, I'll take one more question and then we'll call it a day. What do I do to adjust my status before the DS expires? All right. So duration of status is, again, you're in the United States, you're schooling here, and while you're schooling, you're good. You're maintaining your required credits, right? So if while you're studying you feel that the United States is right for you, and you would like to explore green card pathways, definitely you're in the right place because we do talk about these things. So you definitely want to sit down and do a consultation to see what pathways are out there for you, because there are different pathways. The EB2 is just one of many pathways to your green card. Or even under the employment based categories, we have different pathways, just even under the employment base. Then the humanitarian, we have VAWA, U visa, T visa. We have even under the family based, different things going on there. So you really want to like sit down with an attorney for them to evaluate your case and see what is going on. Allow them to like look and see what's going on with regards to um you know your credentials, and then I'm sure they'll be able to advise you on what pathways might work based on what you have. All right, guys. So just to sum up today, again, I want everybody to. Oh yeah, before I forget, I want again to invite you guys to this wonderful um career talk that's going to take place tomorrow. It says having a successful career in the academia. If you are interested in this, it's a free admission. You don't have to pay anything. Please put your email um, on the chat and we will send you the link. This is beautiful for those of you who are young and would like to pursue a career in a university or in a college setting. And yeah, you should take advantage of that. Anyways, so just to wrap up what I was saying today, and if you are undocumented, please remain calm. Don't go crazy. Don't do anything funny. You know what I mean? uh just, like I said, try and be in touch with a lawyer that you trust, and of course we're here for you if you are interested in hiring us during this process. Find out what you qualify for, and even if you don't qualify for anything, take some precautions. Make sure that you are in a community setting. Make sure that you have your ID with you. Make sure that if you have applied for anything, you have your receipt notice with you. Even those of you that are green card holders, you want to have a photocopy of your green. You need something to show your status, because in this season, people can be quizzed and the mistakes could even happen. So you definitely want to like make sure that you have an ID. You want to, make sure that you are respectful to law enforcement if you are questioned, things like that, so that you don't get yourself into any trouble. And please, the last word of caution is, do not, and I'm repeating, do not claim to be a US citizen to get out of trouble. Don't do that. You're just putting yourself into more and more trouble. Okay? All right. I think we've come to the end of our session for today. It's been a pleasure having everyone on the chat. We're going to have another live session next week. I host these live sessions every Saturday. You can come in with your questions. I'll try my best to answer your questions based on what you put out there, because I don't know all the story. I can only know everything if you schedule a consultation, and that is something you can do if you go to my website go-attorney. And even if you're not ready to schedule a consultation, you can subscribe to my website or this channel, so that you want to get information. Just get the information. It's free. It doesn't hurt to get the information. Just get it. And then who knows? It might be useful to you one of these days. You know what I mean? So, on that note, this is Gertrude Onuoha from NIW Approved, saying thank you very much for spending your lovely Saturday with me. And if you enjoyed the session, please, I'd like to see your comments. I appreciate your comments. Let me know if you enjoyed the session. And if there's anything you are interested in me talking about in the world of immigration, please put it in the comment. I will definitely spend time going over your comments and your suggestions, something you would like me to talk about. I'm happy to talk about it. I've been doing this now for over 13 years, and we've been able to help loads of clients navigate the green card process. I also do VAWA. In case if you are a victim of abuse, I do VAWA, I do the U visa. I help people with their naturalization application. But the EB2 NIW, EB1 is my forte. That's my bread and butter. I love doing that. I've been doing that for years and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy immigration work generally, but That's somewhere that we have really done a lot of work for a lot of clients. Thank you very much, and make sure you're subscribing. Have a wonderful rest of your day. God bless you.